onboarding, supervision, motivation. Let's see, what an interesting week this will be for 8420. I am live outside the 4-H Center. If you haven't been to campus, please come up, stop in and visit. It is open and a great place to see. I think I don't think it was the first LEED certified building on campus. Just across the way is the Agriculture Administration building. Right there is Schottenstein Center, good place for concerts, etc. So come on by and visit. So let me see. Onboarding, yeah. So let's do the introductory and then we'll go inside and talk more about motivation and things like that. So let me share my screen and let me ask you a question. Imagine if we didn't do onboarding for the folks that work here in the 4-H Center or all around our state as 4-H educators, program assistants, tech people, etc., volunteers. Onboarding is a huge piece of all of that. My clicker's not working, so I'll advance my hand. All right. So the objectives for this module, I want to talk about just effective practices. I want to talk about motivation, what you can specifically do as a supervisor or leader now or in the future. And then quickly, we'll talk about situational leadership. So onboarding. Research shows that employees get about 90 days to prove themselves. And then the decision to stay is made within those first few weeks. So how can this process become more effective? How can we make it? We spend a lot of time and money bringing folks into our organization. So we really want and need for it to be effective and to work so that we get the right people and they don't leave. When we're hiring folks, you know, there's a reason. They're good people. We don't want them to leave. And we've had turnover. Everybody has turnover. So how do we do this better? Well, maybe you've done orientation. Can you think back to a time when you had an orientation, new employee orientation? 25 years ago or longer, I had a 2-day orientation, or maybe 3 days, here in Columbus as I became a new extension agent at the time. And it was just so much information all at once. I walked away completely bewildered, but I met Graham Cochran, who's now our senior associate dean. And so we've been buds now for a long time. So that something good came out of it. Well, how about onboarding? Let's switch the orientation to onboarding and talk about that. There's a difference. That orientation, that single event, maybe a seminar, human resources, you've got to, all the compliance pieces, sign all these forms, versus a phased onboarding, multimodal, and more collaborative. So we get to know our new folks, they get to know us, and you get a more comprehensive picture of the organization, including organizational culture. So there's the ship. So get on board. It's a strategic process. This is high level here. Comprehensive approach, welcoming, engaging, equipping. We want to equip the new folks, even though we recognize today, maybe more than ever, that they are bringing with them great tools and things that we might benefit from instead of continuing to do things the way we've always done them. Anyway, I'll get off that soapbox. Building lasting relationships. So Bauer, I like the 4 C's. Compliance, that's your HR stuff. You got to do that. That's cool. Clarification, how can you answer questions? There are so many when you're new in an organization or even in a job. I've changed jobs within the same organization at Ohio State. I'm going to say 3 or 5 major times, probably different counties, state level work now, teaching on campus, etc. Then the connections and then the culture. Let's talk real quickly about culture. You remember this? I think I've shown it before. Tim Kite, Focus 3 is his business, worked with the Ohio State football team that national championship year. So as leaders, we create culture. It's the culture, though, that drives the behavior. So that organizational culture as part of our onboarding is a huge piece. And then that behavior gives you results, which is what we're looking for. It's why we're hiring people. It's why we're onboarding. So culture. I love this from Burnison last year or a couple years ago, whatever, 2021. Ask 6 people to define culture. You'll get 12 answers. Culture boils down to one thing: how we get things done. So I like that when I'm working with organization, I do a lot of strategic planning work. And one of the things I will say is organizational culture will eat your strategic plan for lunch. because that culture doesn't care. That culture is what's driving the behavior. Strategic plan is supposed to be, but if you don't have the culture right, then it's not going to work. So how can we positively affect culture? Well, I'll give you a quick example. If you're not an extension or an Ohio State person, if you work in a nonprofit or you're a student, take a look at extension's fairly new, few years now, onboarding process. It's called the Onboard Network ACEL. I really like how they've imagined and designed and defined this idea of onboarding, but you also get networking, and then we help you as a new person learn to excel in this organization because it's complex. You know, we're statewide, we're on Central Camp or Columbus campus, we're in Newark, we're everywhere. So there's a lot. One extension is a 6-week program. It's they have cohort-based approach, so you can either do it live Zoom or an async, but they also have asynchronous Canvas models, and there's also an in-person approach, which I really like best. That's my favorite. I wish we were in person for this class. The goals, they want to give a common experience so folks understand extension. They want to get that culture of learning, collaboration, community engagement. This is our mission. This is what we do in our outreach work in extension. If you're going to be a future ag educator or educator of some sort or communicator, these are big pieces. Establish connections, build relationships, clarify those job roles, responsibilities. Maybe we don't need to do it the same way we've always done it. And then model best practices as they move forward. So what do you think? Does that sound like enough? Is it too much? Take a look online. That'll be your homework assignment. Check out the onboarding module. Is it something you might emulate in the future? Is it something that might be interesting for new employees? Tell me what you think about it. Oh, you don't tell me, but you know, it'll probably be a discussion question. All right, thanks. See you next time.